If you're going to be successful in business, you have to be willing to hire people that are smarter than you.
You can't do it yourself. You have to have people that you trust.
Everybody is as important as the next person.
You have to take risks.
Every business should be prepared to be sold in 5 years.
Business Newsmakers is brought to you by Tompkins Mahopac Bank, your local, mobile, and remarkable community bank.
Hello and welcome to Hudson Valley News Network's Business Newsmakers show, brought to you by Tompkins Mahopac Bank. I'm here today with someone whose name you probably already know, and that's Chuck Benfer. He's the market president of iHeart Media in the Hudson Valley and the tri-state region. Chuck, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you for inviting me. This is fun. Yeah.
I appreciate it because I know you have so much territory to cover.
Yeah, it's a big territory. There's no question about it. I go from eastern Pennsylvania, northern New Jersey, the Hudson Valley, all the way up to Albany. So it's a lot of miles.
How many people do you manage with that large
Just over
territory?
100.
Over 100? Mm-hmm. Whoa.
Yeah.
That's quite a few.
Yeah.
What are one of the ways that you keep everyone connected? Because with a vast geographic territory and 100 different, 100 different personalities to manage, how do you keep everyone on the same page?
I have a lot of good people that work for me, right? So that's the number one key. If you're going to be successful in business, you have to be willing to hire people that are smarter than you, that are talented, and then give them the opportunity to do their jobs. So I can't manage as many people as I have. So I have to have really good department head leaders that I can trust, and then I meet with them to make sure that they're on task. And one of the biggest challenges that I might have in managing people is that sometimes my managers will take on their employees' problems as their own problems, and they'll end up having a difficult time managing their schedules because they're handling everybody else's problems. And probably one of the greatest coaching things that I do with my staff is get them to give those problems back to their employees. It was a book called, many years ago, there was a book called The 1 Minute Manager, and then there was a sequel to the book called The 1 Minute Manager Meets the Monkey. And anyone who's in management should get that book, The 1 Minute Manager Meets the Monkey, because what it does is it teaches you how to give the problems that your employees are having back to your employees, right? So having 100 employees, if 20 of them are struggling with things, I can't do the job of those 20 employees, right? So yeah. I can, though, work with them on how to make the solutions work for them and then watch them enact those solutions. And then they get to move forward.
That sounds like an absolute must-read, and it sounds like you have to spend a good deal of your time hiring those right managers to oversee people and giving them the tools to be successful.
Yeah, and I think that everybody that works for me, I think that pretty much everybody that has a job wants to do well, right? So our job as leaders, and my definition of a leader, is a person who takes people to where they want to go, but can't necessarily get there by themselves. So, we got to work with our managers, we got to work with our staff, we have to bring them along. And there's a lot of different techniques and a lot of different books that I've read over the years that teach me how to work with different personalities and people. It's not a one-size-fits-all sort of management strategy. You have to take the individual, you have to see what motivates them, what different techniques you can use. There are some people that I can be extremely difficult with, and then there are some people that I have to be more nurturing. So it depends on the personality.
You probably spend a lot of your time reading people to get the most out of them.
Absolutely.
And motivate them.
Yeah, absolutely. And the number one thing I would say, if you were to ask the people that work directly for me, I have a high level of candor with my staff. I let everyone know exactly how I feel about everything, primarily because I'm not that smart. So if I can't, if I hold on to something for too long, I'll forget to say it, right? So if somebody that works for me does something that I don't agree with, I address it immediately with them. I go through what happened, go through how I would prefer that they handle it, and then I move on. And ideally, the employees move on too. We live in a world where I like to have original mistakes. Everybody's going to make mistakes. Let's make them original. So you had a mistake, no problem. How do we fix it moving forward? And then we just move forward.
Have you ever had a time where you had someone who was great, but maybe they were in the wrong role for their skill set or personality? And how did you deal with this?
Absolutely. I spent a lot of time with them, trying to get them to understand what I need them to do. And then there's a difficult conversation that takes place that's something like, hey, listen, if we don't make this improvement, I'm going to make a change, right? And it's not that I don't like you, because I like you a lot. I just don't like the job you're doing.
That's
so we
quite
can
candid.
we can either fix the job, or I'm going to have to make a change, right? And some people think it's sort of mean or calloused, but really I believe that our employees, my employees, deserve that level of candor to understand how I feel about the job that they're doing, and then have an open dialogue. I mean, they can come in and say to me, hey, I think you really screwed something up.
So you'll dish it out, but you can also take it.
Well, I think you have to be that way when you're leading a team. Otherwise, it's hard to get people to buy into your vision if they don't understand your vision and if they're not willing to challenge it.
I love that you dive deep enough to get to understand the needs of that individual person and support them. I heard about 10 years ago, and correct me if I'm wrong, you accepted an award, and I'm going to paraphrase you, but I really liked a statement that you made, and it was that in order to get to nickels, people sometimes jump over dollars. And I thought that was a fascinating statement. I'd love for you to explain that one.
Yeah, sometimes people lose sight of what we're really here for, right? And you end up jumping over dollars to pick up nickels. And it happens a lot in the corporate world, where they're really micromanaging finances. And I think that I was receiving a national award, and I was probably speaking disparagingly about Cumulus, a company that I worked for, when I said that. But it was true. These guys were constantly being very short-sighted and hurting the overall success of all of their radio groups. And they're currently now working through a bankruptcy problem as a result of the way they mismanaged the company for many years. If you're in a business and you don't have the vision that it takes to see the long term, like, as for example, all the things that we do to support the community, some people in the corporate world would say that that's a waste of time. I don't make any money from the Girl Scouts, right? However, if I pick up listeners from the Girl Scouts, then my audience size grows, and then my audience size growing is a real benefit to the advertisers. And if the more advertisers come on and advertise, then I can grow the rates that I charge for the radio stations, and it ends up being successful, right? But if I don't do that, then I would be jumping over $1 to pick up a nickel. So.
Yeah, that quote really, it stuck with me. I thought that's so smart. And in business, sometimes we are so quick to say yes to everything, and then can lose sight of that bigger goal and the relationships.
I think in business, we're probably faster at saying no to everything, and that's probably one of the biggest problems businesses face, is that they're afraid. The fear of loss is much greater than the desire for gain, and a lot of people are afraid to take a step out on the ledge to really go after something, and it's a lot easier to say no than it is to say yes.
Now, at this stage in your career, do you still set a goal list? Do you have a business plan for yourself? How do you ensure you're looking ahead to what's next for you?
Yeah,
that you're on track.
I'm always thinking about how to improve myself, how to improve my situation. Where do I want to be in 5 years? My basic philosophy is that every business should be prepared to be sold in 5 years. And the reason why I believe that is because I think the businesses that are up for sale are the ones that are the most efficient, right? So they're the ones that tend to be the most profitable. They have the least amount of fat in their organizations and stuff. So I think if you can always run your business like you're going to sell it in 5 years, then that's a great way to be. You may be the one that buys your business in 5 years, but at least you know that the business is prepared and is doing the things that it needs to do so that you can maximize the dollars getting out of it, right? I think my career is the same thing. Where do I want to be in 5 years? How will I be able to make the changes here? I mean, we all get sort of stagnant. I've been with this company for 6 years. I was with another company for 3 years. I was with another company for 18 years. You can end up getting sort of stale if you're not finding ways to reinvent what you're doing, improve on what you're doing, and continue to deliver a better service.
Now, I've noticed about you, and I think you can tell so much about somebody from their LinkedIn profile. One thing that stood out to me about you was that you are very nurturing of the people coming up behind you in their careers. And the reason I know that is because you give out far more recommendations to others than you take back in, and that just stood out. Why, with your busy schedule, are you stopping to write LinkedIn recommendations for people who have maybe worked for you or partnered with you? Why is that important to you?
Well, I think it's, we live in a society today where people are afraid to say anything about anybody, right? So I think it's important for people to know that if someone has put me down as a reference or somebody's asked me to recommend them, I'll give an honest recommendation. And if somebody's done a great job for me and they're looking for an opportunity, I'm willing to help them get that opportunity. I think that's what we're all here for, right? We're all here to help people move forward, get a hand up, help people advance their careers, help people advance their lives. It's what we do when we do charitable endeavors, whether we're doing food drives or we're doing blood drives, whatever we're doing, we're trying to make other people's lives better. And if somebody is trying to get a job that's going to improve their life, then I'm going to do everything I can to help them. If I'm willing to put my neck out for them, they probably deserve it. So.
Well, I love that you take the time to do that, and that you give people that fair shake. What's the one last bit of advice you'd give anyone out there who hopes to build their career here in the Hudson Valley? What's the one thing you would tell them?
I have been all over the country. I have toured the country for other companies. I've done sales training and management training and client seminars and all kinds of stuff, literally from coast to coast and border to border, really big markets, really small markets. And I will tell you this, there's no better place in the world than the Hudson Valley. We are so close to the biggest city in the world, to transportation anywhere we want to go, but we live in this beautiful little bedroom community that is really quaint and comfortable. I mean, from time to time the weather stinks, but you could say that of anybody, right? Any place.
True.
So I would say the Hudson Valley is a great place to build a career, and just be true to yourself and be true to what you want to do, and you'll have a great career.
You've heard it here, business newsmakers and would-be future business newsmakers. The Hudson Valley is where it's at for business. Speaking of, I want to thank you,
My
Chuck,
pleasure. Thank you.
for making it your business to be here with us today.
Thank you for the invite.
And I hope you keep tuning in to hear from more wonderful business newsmakers in the weeks to come. And at this point, this Phil is going to wrap it up because I'm going to turn it over to another Phil Bronzy of Tompkins Mahopac Bank for your Tompkins Tip. Thanks for tuning in.
In light of recent headlines surrounding data breaches and cybersecurity, it's important to talk about how to protect your business from fraud. To protect your accounts, take steps to ensure you're protecting your online passwords, including never sharing them with coworkers. Create systems to ensure checks and balances on staff members' activities, especially in relation to their online banking and purchases. This may involve even establishing limits on each member's spending authority. Monitor the business online banking and spending daily, keeping an eye out for suspicious activity. And take advantage of bank-offered insurance programs that may help prevent fraud. Enroll in Positive Pay, a bank-provided electronic fraud prevention system which is used to alert businesses of suspicious check and other activity. If you're vigilant and take advantage of these resources available to you, you greatly reduce your risk of fraud on your accounts.